Hello, this is Michael here. I'm doing a sort of video response to Brett Hicks' video on remasters. And one thing he brought up which I thought was interesting was the fact that games companies keep re-releasing the same games and also remasters of the same games. Now, before I actually touch on remastered console/PC games, I thought I'd bring up where I think they got the idea from. Now, bear with me because I've made a list of stuff. Now, are there any other industries that do the same thing? So let's have a look at movies. In the last decade, they remade The Thing badly, RoboCop badly, Total Recall. Now, Total Recall is a film that irritates me personally because it has next to nothing to do with the original. It's not set on Mars. The whole film has nothing whatsoever to do with the original Total Recall, which was, as I said, based on Mars, and also it was about alien technology that could turn Mars into a livable planet, whereas in the remake it was on Earth, where somehow, I don't know how this works, they built a tunnel through the planet, and for some reason vast parts of the Earth was uninhabitable due to radioactive material, probably from World War III or something stupid, and it had nothing to do with it. It was a pointless remake. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Now, I'm not going to be too hard on Michael Bay because, let's face it, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was never Shakespeare. But did we need it? No. Now let's have a look at a couple re-releases which I think is worth mentioning. Lord of the Rings. I bought the Lord of the Rings Special Edition trilogy in a box set for £40, and they split the film, each film, into 2 DVDs so that they could use dual layers, which meant you got the highest quality picture quality that you can get. Then, somewhere in the region of about 5 years later, they released the Blu-ray box set. So, how is my experience of the films going to be improved because it's in a higher quality? It's not. And only recently, they were probably Disney announced Star Wars will be digitally downloadable in HD for the first time ever. Do you know how many times they've re-released Star Wars and people have bought it? I mean, just on VHS alone, I can count 4 times. Let alone the DVD special edition where fucking Hayden Christensen takes the place of you know, the dude who played Darth Vader in the original Return of the Jedi film, and they got that wanker standing next to Obi-Wan Kenobi. So the problem isn't so much that the games industry do it. It's the fact that movies have been doing it for so long, and people have been buying the same shit for so long, that the games industry have realised people are dumb. I mean, really dumb. So let's have a look at the music industry. Have they done the same? The Beatles. And I am a huge Beatles fan. But when they released a digitally remastered copy of their entire collection recently, well, I say recently, about 4 years ago, of the same albums that I owned on CD, that took the piss. Now, the problem being is that if people are stupid enough to buy the same music again and again, and it's the Beatles, a majority of their music was mono, single speaker. It wasn't even stereo. So why are you spending, well, for all 18 albums you're talking about £300? when you can go down to any second-hand shop and buy it on tape or record or CD for $1 each. So you see, we need to understand the mentality of the people. These people haven't just become dumb recently. They've been dumb for fucking decades. They've been pulling this shit for decades. And so, on to remasters of games. Knowing that people were stupid enough to buy the same thing over and over again, the games industry suddenly realised, well, we got a game and it sold well. Now, how do we make more money from it? Because if you look at the games in the past, a game that was considered a flop would normally, it would sell well in the first week or two and then you'd never hear or see it again. Or it would sell well for a period of time and then the next big thing would come along. So these people were looking at these games thinking, well, The Last of Us sold really well. Now what if we re-released it on the PlayStation 4? Because at the moment, in my opinion, the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, and to a lesser extent the Wii U, has nothing I want to buy. And there are people out there that will literally buy anything just to play something on their new console. I mean, the PC is quite fortunate in the sense that to some extent it is backwards compatible with previous PC games. Not all. There's a shitload of games that don't run on it. In fact, there's a shitload of games that come out on it before it now that don't run on it. So you can't really compare the two. But I thought, well, as we're doing this, why don't I make a list of games I would like to see remastered? And anyone who's seen my videos will know I'm a huge fan of Xenogears, or Xenogears. And the reason I would love to see a remake of that is the second disc literally is just text. I mean, I did a playthrough and the first one was 115 parts and the second one was 35. Why? Because most of the time, and I kid you not, you're watching some dude rocking backwards, sitting on a chair, talking. Page after page after page after page of text. And the reason for that was because they cut the budget, and so instead of having a full-fledged second disc game, it was just you reading the text. I would have preferred if they just put a fucking video, let me watch it, but it is what it is. Now, the second one, which is linked, but unfortunately it's a different company because Squaresoft released Xenogears. The Xenosaga trilogy is one set, just one disc with all 3 games and any spin-offs, etc. That I think would be quite good as a remake. And from the UK perspective, it will be good because we only got part 2, so we know how it. We don't know how it begins, and we don't know how it ends. All we know is that this is the middle part, so we're sitting there going, well, so how does the game end? Fuck you, you'll never find out. And as Brett mentioned, Half-Life, I put here Half-Life with the unreleased episode 3. For some reason, Valve don't like 3s, because, they never released episode 3, and it's been, I think Half-Life 2 came out 2002. 13 years since a proper Half-Life game came out. So if they were to release Half-Life with the 2 mission packs, Half-Life 2 and 3 parts, even things like Team Fortress 2, I mean, that game is still hugely successful even though it's coming up to 10 years. And finally, Dragon Quest. In the UK, I think the first release of Dragon Quest was Dragon Quest 8. So we never got to play any of the previous games. So for someone like me, that would be great. Then, bear with me, just making sure it's still recording. Anyway, so another thing, the PC, PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, which are pretty much PCs. Why can they not go to the companies that make emulation? Remember that the PlayStation 4 is running a version of Linux. So why can you not license a PlayStation 1 emulator from a company or a person and a PlayStation 2 emulator for it? I mean, you can add specific protection to prevent it from running copied games or ISO files. But the point being is that these companies do not have an excuse for not having backwards compatibility. You know, with Xbox One should at least be able to run Xbox original games, because the original Xbox was an Intel based console. The Xbox One is an AMD based console. They're both running Windows. There is absolutely no excuse for the Xbox One not running the Xbox original games. Xbox 360, yeah, I kind of understand, different architecture. But if they were to have emulation, imagine if you could actually buy on disc Panzer Dragoon Saga, you know, without any updates, just the original game. So you got the 4 discs, you know, it's all packed. I mean, Sega may have lost the source code, but are you fucking telling me they don't have the original discs? I don't think so. So you get the 4 discs from the original game, plus an emulator disc which you install onto your machine, and then you can run the bloody game. You should be able to have an emulator for the PlayStation 1, for the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4, which means that potentially you have a reasonably large audience who might want to play it, even if it's not updated. Because don't forget, emulation now can run the same game in high definition. Give the fans the option. As for these remastered versions of games that are sometimes only 2 years old, the only reason I can imagine why someone would buy, say, The Last of Us on PlayStation 4 instead of PlayStation 3 was that they never bought it. If you buy, for instance, The Last of Us twice, then you're part of the problem. And as for the Metal Gear Solid example, in the UK, the Metal Gear Solid Legacy, or the Ultimate Collection which you purchased, was not released here. So either we buy it from America, which costs a lot of money, or we're stuck with the Metal Gear HD Collection, which includes 2, 3 and 4. And from some of the reviews on Amazon, they were saying that you only get Metal Gear Solid 2, 3 and 4 on disc anyway, and the rest is a digital download. Now, I don't know if that's true, because I don't own it. But the point being is this: people are releasing the same games over and over again because stupid people are buying them. Now, if you're going to buy the game over and over again, why? Why? I can understand there are certain people, they sell their old games collection and consoles to buy the new one, but that's crazy. And I'll give you an example of how crazy it is. I knew someone who said to me, I've bought 17 PlayStation 1s, 15 Sega Saturns, and 12 Nintendo 64s. I thought, bloody hell, man, your front room must be crowded. How do you get to use them? You must have piles of these consoles. Oh, no. No, what I do is I sell the console and all the games to buy a console with the game I want to play. That is insanity. If you want to buy a PlayStation 4, why are you selling the PlayStation 3? Why should you presume that everything will run on it? The thing is, the PlayStation 4 isn't that much better than PlayStation 3. It is graphically superior, but there isn't that big jump. I mean, if you look at the PlayStation 1 to PlayStation 2, you can see why it was released. There's a big difference. And then if we compare the PlayStation 2 to the PlayStation 3, there was a huge difference in size, and quality. You know, the maps were bigger. it was the first high definition console. It looked like a PC. The quality was vastly better. But the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, not so much. I mean, at least with the Wii U, they know that their console isn't that powerful. So they're not going to try and push photorealistic graphics onto us because they know it can't. So at least they stick to what it can do, which is sort of cartoony, bright coloured, pastel coloured games. And it works perfectly fine. I mean, the Zombie U graphically looks good. Unfortunately, in my opinion, it's a shit game, and I don't like it. That's just my opinion. But anyway, I just thought I'd give my opinion. Remasters, if it's done well, then it's worth buying. But as Brett would say, if you want a single game remastered for $60, why don't you just go and buy the original game? I mean, I've seen Xbox 360s being sold on eBay, 500 gig hard drive based Xbox 360s for about £85. So if you really want Modern Warfare 2, just buy an Xbox 360 and the game for about £5 to £10, and stop encouraging companies to be lazy and re-release the same things rather than making new IPs. And Nintendo, in my opinion, is probably one of the worst examples where they regurgitate the same shit, and us being fans buy the same shit. I mean, Mario Kart, has it really changed a great deal since, say, the GameCube version, which was free? Really? Has it? Oh, you can fly upside down now. Yeah, that's really worth my money. But people still buy it, and unfortunately, while people still buy the same shit, they will not go out their way and make games that the real fans want. I mean, Mario Kart 8 will probably sell 10, 20 million units. But why not release Fire Emblem in the West? Why not re-release some of the old games that are so old that people have forgotten about them? Why not, make new IPs? Why not take old games which are incomplete, like Halo 2, which was cut in half apparently, and there's a lot. The missions were made considerably shorter because of the capacity of the original Xbox. If you're going to release a remaster games that were incomplete. I mean, imagine if you were playing, say, Halo 2, and you had the full maps which were severely cut down to run on the machine. That would be interesting. But whilst you keep wasting your money, they'll keep re-releasing it. And another example before I go is Street Fighter 4. Street Fighter 3. I mean, most people seem to think that Street Fighter 3 only had one game. No! First strike, second strike, third strike. And what they're saying is, stupid, you're really stupid, fuck me, why have you bought this game a third time? I mean, it's the same game with a few extra characters. So stop buying remakes and now stop making them. Basically harass them if you have to. Tell them on forums what you want. Eventually, even the dumbest of executives will realise, oh, so they want Xenogears. Well, we'll re-release it. Final Fantasy VII. Personally, I wouldn't buy it. I mean, not for one fucking game. I could understand if they broke it down into, say, what I call ages. So you had the NES era, which is 1, 2, 3. Super Nintendo era, 3, 4 and 5. I mean 4, 5 and 6. PlayStation 1 era, 7, 8, 9. PlayStation 2, 10, 10, 2, 12. Well, you could release 11 if you wanted, and I was going to play it. But anyway, it's just an idea. And if we keep telling them this is what we want, and also Vote with your pocket. Stop buying shit just because there's nothing worth playing on the PlayStation 4. I have no games on the PlayStation 4 at the moment. So why did you buy it? Because I'm not always going to have the money to afford to buy the console. And Bloodbrain's come out on it. I'll probably buy it at some point, but there's no rush. I just bought a load of collections, Jak and Daxter Trilogy, Sly and Cooper, Metal Gear Solid HD collection, etc, etc. So you know, if you really need games to play, well, be more strategic. Don't sell your hardware to buy new hardware. And this is not a new phenomenon. There hasn't been a generation ever where a console has been released and it has been inundated, no, not even a Dreamcast, with games in the first couple of years. The really good games take a while to make. So while you're waiting for these games to come out, are you really going to buy FIFA Soccer 15? Are you really going to buy Call of Duty Modern Warfare or Ghost Free if you don't like the games because you need something to play? Well, if that's your mentality, wait until there are games on your machines. Don't sell your hardware. Wait until there are games that you want to buy, rather than buying games you never wanted to play in the first place. If you didn't want to play The Last of Us on the PlayStation 3, why do you want to play it on the PlayStation 4? So that you can see how good the graphics are. You didn't want to play it. So, wait until games come out for it, rather than just buying games that you don't like. Anyway, I just thought I'd give my 2 pence. Thanks for watching. Bye.